Lesson 6.7 is comparing fractions, but the kids are going to choose a strategy. So the different methods that they have been taught are that they could draw a model, they could use common denominators, if they see they could simplify one of the fractions, or even use 1/2 as a benchmark. So these will be their choices. Many of them do lean towards drawing a model, but if the fractions are close to each other, that's probably going to be difficult for them to decide, especially if they can't draw even boxes. So for drawing a model, I have 3/5 and I want to compare it to 5/8. So what I tell them to do is to draw a rectangle and then split it in half. I need 5 pieces for my first one. And then I need 8 pieces for the bottom. And when I do that, to try to make sure it's even, I know 8 is divisible by 2. And so I split it in 2, and then I know I need 4 equal pieces on each side. From there, I'm going to shade in each fraction. And so I need 3/5, but then I need 5/8. And from the model, this one is pretty close to being the same, so I may want to double check it with another method, but at least the kids get the idea on how drawing a model could help them. And the next method is using a common denominator. I see that my denominators are 6 and 8, and I need to find multiples of each and find the most common one. So I'm going to take 6, 12, 18, 24. And I know in my head that 8 also goes into that, but you could have them listed if you want. 8, 16, 24. So I know that 24 is my least common multiple. So I'm going to take 4/6 and force it to have a denominator of 24. And I ask, well, 6 times what gets me 24? And they know it's 4. If you do it to the bottom, you do it to the top. And 4 times 4 is 16. So 4/6 is also equivalent to 16/24. I have to do the same to my other fraction, which was 4/8. I need to force it to have a denominator of 24. What times 8 gives me 24? And I know 3 times 8 gives me 24. You do it to the bottom, you got to do it to the top. 4 times 3 is 12. Now I can easily compare the two, and I know that 16/24 is greater than 12/24, therefore 4/6 is greater than 4/8. The next method, if they see that one of the fractions could be simplified, it might help. So I'm going to take 6/8 and I want to simplify it because I see that if I divide this by 2, it's going to give me a denominator of 4. So 6/8, and I'm going to divide the top and the bottom by 2, which gives me 3/4. Much easier to compare 3/4 and 1/4, and I know that it's greater than. 3/4 is greater than 1/4, therefore 6/8 is also greater than 1/4. Another method is using a benchmark, and what kids like to use is the 1/2 benchmark. Basically, thinking in their head a whole piece and cutting it in half. And for this, I'm going to say, well, 1/4, I know that 2/4 would be half, so this is actually less than my benchmark. And 8/10, well, I know that 5/10 would be halfway, and that's actually greater than or more than the benchmark of 1/2. Therefore, I can see that 1/4 is less than 8/10. Here, students, you're going to do these 3 problems comparing the fractions, and choose the best strategy and be ready to explain yourself. So the first one is 2/4 compared to 3/8. Number 2 is 6/12 compared to 5/8. And number 3 is 2/8 compared to 1/4. Please make sure you're trying to choose different strategies and don't always draw the model. Practice using the other ones that we've been working on. Thank you.